Good morning, my brothers and sisters. On this episode number 178, thank you so much for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and to play. I am one of your hosts, the Brazilian Mountaineer and Transition Ninja, Lucas Ham, a Swisher. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news and spoilers, Patrick Novacell.
Speaking of fake news and spoilers, I got some fake news and spoilers for you.
Ooh.
Later tonight.
Ooh.
Back to you, Lucas.
All right, fantastic. On his left and my
peek.
right, the Rocket League and Beast to the east who can make you laugh in 3 words or less or your money back, Ronnie Johantis.
Hello, everybody.
Hello to you. And last but certainly not least, the final member of the GMG Quadfecta who's got music in his heart, Apex Legends on his brain, and La Coretta in his old stomacho, Marc Boucher.
Good evening, morning, afternoon, whichever you fill in the blank there, sir.
You know what?
Fill in the blank time zone.
I don't think you said that right. It's not La Coretta in his old stomacho. It's La Coretta in his old portfolio. He just bought La Coretta for 73 million Monopoly bucks. I mean, let's keep that.
Congratulations.
I did have to consult extensively with Uncle Moneybags over this decision.
Right. Yep.
And
Mark-
I did have to trade in Boardwalk for this, but
He's over
Is that
there
the Monopoly guy's
acquiring
name?
things.
what's
Making
that,
it
Ronnie?
competitive?
Is Moneybags the name of the Monopoly guy?
Indeed. His name is Uncle
Is he an
Moneybags.
uncle?
I did not know that he had money. I didn't know that he had a name.
He sure does.
Just thought he was a Monopoly guy.
Yeah, the Monopoly guy, right?
You
That's
just
what
say
I-
Monopoly?
I'm gonna mark
what-
fact myself,
That's what Ace Ventura 2 says.
but I'm
You
pretty
must
sure
be
it's
a
Uncle Moneybags.
Monopoly guy.
Uncle Moneybags.
All right. While you research that, we're going to get into what's new news before we get off the rails any more than we already did pre-show. So, guys, we're mixing it up tonight. We are doing ABC order by first name, just in case there are confusions on the brains. All right, Mark, what is it? I heard your
I was
fact
close.
check. I heard your fact check. So go ahead.
I was close. It's Uncle Pennybags.
Oh, not
Penny
close
bags.
enough.
That sounds
Man.
less wealthy.
That sounds lame.
That sounds less wealthy.
Well, in his defense, the game was made in like 1939 or something.
And,
like that.
yeah,
Pennies
at that
were
point,
Pennies was like $1
pennies-
million.
Yeah, exactly. Pennies were worth. You could buy a burger for a penny.
Buy a house with pennies.
That's
Excuse
right.
me,
I got my bag of
1936.
pennies.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, fair enough. Guys, Lifefront, just want to let you know.
Wait,
that
who are you?
I am Lucas,
Okay.
and
all right.
since ABC order rules work like this, I am an L. Mark is an M. You are a P. For
You're an
Patrick, and
L?
Ronnie's an R. I'm an L.
Okay.
L's become L's come before all y'all, so I get to go first.
All right.
Anywho, real life, I would say not much, but that's not true. Lots of stuff's been happening. I am back, as you all know, in the 80+ degree weather, lots of rain, humidity, mosquitoes all over the place, but thankfully no snow or ice or extreme temp changes. It's wondrous. Now, I will say that my daughter left the washing machine open the other day. And as you may or may not remember from when I moved here in April, if someone leaves the washing machine open, the mosquitoes will treat it like a hotel room. And so the next day I got to banging on that washing machine and just stuck the paddle over the top and this did that electric popping of the mosquitoes. It was a good time.
Do they
So-
come from within the washing machine?
They do. They'll go and they'll just hang out in there. They love the moisture from,
But,
what
or
you have
do
left over.
they come from inside the washing machine, like through the pipes or tubes, or do they just come from all over your house? Seems like a great way to trap them, like if they're in your house already.
No, it's not fun to trap them in your house because then they just attach themselves to your body and suck your blood.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so-
gonna be there in like 6 weeks. Please do not trap them in the house because
I will.
I'm allergic. I'm allergic.
The bed you're gonna sleep in, I'm just gonna
It is
Come on
made
over,
of
guys.
mosquitoes.
It's made. It's like, what is this bed?
An entire blanket of mosquitoes.
This bedspread.
It's
is moving.
50,000 count mosquito spread. It's beauteous. You'll love it. It's
Yeah.
So
so
soft.
nice.
This
It's so
fabric
soft
feels
and
like
fluttery.
it's moving. What's going on?
What's going on? Why do I want to pass out right now? It's like, why is my bed growing? It's your blood. Okay.
What?
What? Because they're all sucking your blood at the same time, so it's like it's growing.
You're just a shell afterwards.
This is a horror movie.
This
Oh my
did
goodness.
here.
This got real
This did
creepy
turn into
real
a horror
quick.
movie. Besides the craziness of just being back in Brazilian summer, I got my first voiceover gig the other day.
What?
And it was not only gloriously underwhelming, but it lasted 3 minutes.
Oh.
And yet I still got paid 200 something reais. So
What was your line? These pretzels are making me thirsty, or what was your line?
it was soup.
You had to do that
Noodle
for 3
soup.
minutes.
I can't wait to hear this. This is awesome.
No, so I get in there. We get there as a family because the last couple times that we've gone to the voiceover gig, only my daughter's gone or my son, and we've taken 3 hours to get back. And Mindy's been at work till like 7:00 at night. She's like, I am not getting stranded at work again, so I'm going with you. And so we got in there, and I was like, I mean, surely they won't they'll take us at the same time. We'll just go to different studio, like recording booths or whatever. And they did not. They were like, who's first? I'm like, well, ladies first. You go ahead, Tasha. She had a gig. So she went in, and she was in there for like 20, 30 minutes. They called me in, and I went in. This is my first time. And there's a Brazilian there who was recording and doing the sound editing. And he was talking to me in Portuguese. And then on the line was a guy named Mike, who's in charge of this. I guess it's some kind of language curriculum where they do videos and audios for teaching English. And so he kind of gives you context, and he coaches whoever is doing the voice audio. And so he said, okay, Lucas, well, welcome to, your first gig or whatever. Your voice today is of a robot. So you just speak in a monotone voice, and that's it. And then we'll add a little, flair to
Post
it, make it
effects,
sound
yeah.
more robotic. So I was just like, my name is V. I like ham and cheese. I want pasta. Like, that's literally what I did for 2.5, 3 minutes. And there was a point where like the robot in the video or in the whatever, the audio, is doing one word at a time. And I'm like, I want a sandwich. And I do it like 4 times, but different foods, sandwich, pasta. And at one point he's like, no, you can't say.
There.
It was pretty funny. Also, what was funny, because of COVID and all that jazz, I was wearing a hairnet. So I look like a lunch lady while I'm recording.
And this
Wait,
gets
what?
better and better.
It's like, was that the M95 hairnet or what?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was M95, and it was really hard to breathe through my hair.
Okay.
Your long, luxurious hair over there. Wearing a hairnet.
My flowing hair.
Not sure I'm actually jiving with the COVID protocols out in Brazil.
Yeah. They just put a hairnet over my head, and they put the same exact hairnet over the microphone.
Okay.
And then that was it.
No,
Like,
that's still not following.
I don't know either. That's just what they did. That's how they protected it from COVID. So, I just did
Protected
my
your hair or
voiceover,
themselves.
my hair and
Protected
their
the
microphone.
That's all it did.
Ah,
Yeah.
so once his hair follicles get on it,
I mean,
It's over.
that's how the
It's
COVID.
all over.
That's how the COVID
it's all
mutates
over, man.
from hair follicles.
That's science.
But yeah, so I did the voice. I only got corrected one time. He wanted me to say a sandwich instead of a sandwich, because it was by itself. And I was like, And he's like, no, actually, you need to say a, because the robot wouldn't know to say He's like, oh, okay, I gotcha.
Did you walk in like, how y'all doing?
What's up,
I want a
guys?
sandwich.
The redneck robot.
Yeah, redneck. That would have been
You never
odd.
know what
Dang
they're
it.
looking for.
I wish I would have thought of that. But like, I was thinking of doing like a southern robot. Like,
I'm looking for
hey
the
y'all,
old, the
how
Irish.
you doing today?
Do the Irish robot.
Irish. What are you doing? I can't even do that.
It all sounds like a redneck now.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Like, nope, it doesn't work.
Definitely still. Western.
Nope. On the
Now, how did
video
you
game,
hear about these gigs, by the way? Because I'm curious. Like, you guys just as a family go in and just audition for things?
we did as a family. We did audition last year, and Mindy's the only one who hasn't gotten a call back yet. And she was just like, "I couldn't care less. I only did it because they asked me to." So we were all there. But yeah, it was just like word of mouth. There was a family at the school that was leaving, like moving from Brazil, and so they're leaving the school, and on the way out they just happened to mention it to Mindy, and then Mindy passed it on to us and said we should try it. So we were like, all right, well, why not? And I mean,
Does it help that you guys are like fluent English speakers? Is that mostly what you're doing?
That helps a lot. They need fluent English speakers. They prefer it. Sometimes it calls for someone with an accent or whatever, but for the most part, they prefer English speakers. So, I mean, my daughter.
You do gotta have a voiceover voice, though. I feel like you could do a lot of those voiceovers.
Yeah, well, even when I tried out the first time, I did say, I can do a Kermit the Frog voice, and then I did a quick impression, and the guy's just like,
Kermit the Frog.
All right. I was like, can I do a Kermit the Frog robot? Hi ho there, I am Kermit the Frog here. I mean, that would work.
You can just do robot voices the rest of the show.
Songs about rainbows.
Rainbow Connection. Yeah, so that was good times. It was very anticlimactic. I was really pumped, and then like, you're gonna be a robot, and then it took 3 minutes, and they're like, that's it, easy money. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. All right, see ya.
Yeah.
Peace. Yeah, no doubt. On the gaming front, I did play the last couple levels of Hue, and I can tell you that I would not have solved it without pulling out the hair under my hairnet if I had not used a walkthrough. There were some puzzles in this baby that I was just like, it was kind of like going back and playing some of them old point and click games where they have you like combine the scissors with the bubble gum, and then you feed it to a frog, and the frog craps it out, and you combine that with some seaweed that only glows blue at midnight. Like, how?
What kind of game is this?
Anybody know? Sorry.
What?
You didn't play random crap we do to win $1 million game? It's real.
Nope,
I
I didn't.
It's from the 80s. It was on the what was the name of your system, Mark? Preparation H.
Preparation H5.
Yep.
Gives you a fun time and removes that itchy feeling.
That's right. It's my favorite system ever.
It's a dual threat system here.
That's right.
It's the Fairchild Channel F.
Yeah, that's what system it came out on. So that's why you didn't play it, Ronnie, or hadn't heard of it. Yeah, so I played Hue. It was fine. It had a cool story, is really why I powered through. And I also used a walkthrough to help me out. That also helped me power through. I give it 3 out of 5 cans of paint. I also finished Uncharted 1. Of course, the story is classic. The relationships and chemistry between Drake and Elena and Sully are automatic, like from the get-go, rock solid. Even I would say the villain, though the true villain shows up really late to the game, I thought it was fine. But the climbing mechanics, the like directional ability that Drake has, or just the ability to just die over and over, like just nonchalantly. He's just like, I just imagine someone in real life just like running across a platform and just randomly jumping into the air off the side, and you're just like, no, Drake, don't do it again.
No, Drake,
no. Why do you keep jumping off of stuff?
This is so counterproductive.
It was actually more annoying because I just played Golden Abyss, where it's a later game, so it actually has somewhat better controls, but it's a prequel, which was kind of confusing. But at the same time, as Patrick makes weird faces, preparation H faces. I like the controls better in not the motion controls or the touch controls, but I like just the general climbing controls better in Golden Abyss than Uncharted 1. But other than that, I still like Uncharted 1 better. I give it 7.5 out of 10 accidental falls to my death. Now I'm on to Uncharted 2, and already a couple chapters in, and I'm like, okay, now this is Uncharted.
Right.
The feel, the animation, It just they really made a big jump between Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2.
They did.
In so many ways.
For sure.
Yeah, they did. The last thing, oh no, let's see. No, that's not the last. Oh no, you know what? I'm gonna put a pin in the last thing. The next to last thing I'm gonna go ahead and say is that I played a bunch of multiplayer games this past
I love
week.
how you physically put a pin in it.
I did. I just went boop. You couldn't
in.
see it on the audio, but you could hear it.
You could feel it.
You could feel it. Lots of multiplayer gaming, which was a blast, only because I was with friends. Sometimes it was not very fun.
Yeah.
First of them that was a blast that happened last week was with Bad Gamer Elite. I played Fortnite for the very first time, and we got not one, not two, not three, but 4 squad wins in a row. And I immediately retired and deleted the game and said, it's only down from here. Like, there's no way I'd ever repeat that again, even with the best of the best.
Did you get any kills at all?
I did. I got some kills. I contributed.
Nice.
I was like, you know what? If I really had the time and I didn't have children and a dog and a beautiful wife and TV shows and other things to do, I would actually play it a little bit.
If there wasn't a million other things in my life, I would have played this.
There wasn't a million better things to do.
I was living a completely different life.
If I was a hermit and had nothing else to do, I would totally get into this. But really, the fun of the game for me was just like how totally goofy it is. Like, we get into the first area, we drop down. The first thing Lim says is like, "Hey, make sure to thank the bus driver." And I'm just like, "What?" He's like, "Thank the bus driver." So everybody's like hitting thanks to the bus driver. I was like, is this a real person? Like, is this their job? Like, they clock in, they're like, just driving the
thing
bus
you do,
for
man.
Fortnite.
Got to show respect.
It's like, got to drop off the next guy. I'm like, all right. So I thank the bus driver, get down there, and he tells us where to, he puts marks a little area on the map. And we get over there, and the first 5 minutes, I kid you not, Lim is fishing. And that's it. Like,
what is this game?
We're just walking around, and he's just like fishing. He's like, "Hey, pick up that fish. It's good for you." And so I'm like picking up stuff, but then dropping other stuff. And I'm like, wait, how many items can I hold? And he's like, 6. And I'm like, well, that's lame. I want like Breath of the Wild, hold 1,000 items in my pocket.
Hammer space type
bag,
Yeah. Well, you got to give me all these options and say, sorry, you can only hold 6.
Small bags in games are the worst.
Crap.
That's the worst.
Because Battle Royale, that's why.
I guess. So I ate some fish and we swam. They taught me how to swim like a dolphin. And then we jumped into a tornado and like spun in a circle, and that was fun. And then we just got 4 wins just like that. Like just every run. At one point I hid in a snowman, and then I proceeded to walk through most of the level as the snowman. And it was actually quite comical. And I was like, this is the kind of battle royale I can get up behind, because it's so goofy.
You're going to be looking for the snowman every time now.
Every time. I love the snowman. So it was actually really fun. And again, if I were a hermit and had nothing else to do, I'd totally play more Fortnite. But that's not the case. So moving on. I also played, what else? Halo Infinite with my boys, with the guys. Good morning, guys.
That happened.
And people, and they're the only reason I enjoyed it. Otherwise, it was the worst. Partially because I stink, partially because I don't understand how shields work.
Up the Connery's
I think
Sean Connery.
The only time we won is when we did SWAT, which is the no shields insta kill, and that's the only time I felt decent. Yeah. And even then, I got 2 kills right at the beginning of the round, and then I did nothing afterwards. I just caught him off guard. The end.
I think you'll feel now. Obviously, I may eat my words, and we'll see what happens. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I think you'll feel a lot better with Splitgate versus Halo, because like I don't know what they did with Halo Infinite, but man, those guys are like bullet sponges. It's ridiculous.
They are. I don't get it.
Like Halo's been like that for a while though.
Yeah.
So like very early on playing multiplayer Halo, like one of the things I adopted that like just carried over to Halo Infinite is as I'm running, like I literally am just running into that person, emptying my gun, and it always ends with me hitting them. Like,
yeah,
because I know my gun's probably not going to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just like bum rush them, and you're just like bull in a china shop, playing chicken all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's the hardest thing to defend. When somebody does it to you, it's a nightmare. So
It's true. And I tell you what, like when we played a round where you got a different weapon, like what was that one called? Fiesta. That was my favorite.
that
was
fun.
my favorite type of play because I just like the variety. Like you always start me. Oh, the first one we did where we automatically started with assault rifles. I was like, what is happening? This is not fun.
Yeah.
But once we got the variety, and once I got to play
start
with
with
the
a plasma
sword,
pistol.
when you start with the sword, it's just like, come on, let's go. Let's run some
Fiesta
fools through.
is in Splitgate.
Good to
so
know.
we can play
All
that,
right.
and they have
I'm
something
down.
very comparable. I'm trying to remember what it is now. Something very comparable to the energy sword, where it's like one hit, kind of kill kind of thing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I look forward to just playing a variety of games with you guys. I as you know, I try to give it the old middle school try.
Yep.
Tried a couple times. Few minutes each. I will say this is probably the most frustrated I've ever heard Patrick in a multiplayer or single player or any game. Like it took 5 minutes and Patrick's like, what is happening? Why? Why?
Yeah, you find
True.
when Pat's not feeling it, you find his "I'm done" voice pretty quick.
it was
I
kind of
was
weird.
really close to uninstalling the game while we were playing.
Yeah. I may or may not have uninstalled it after we played.
Yep.
I'm like, I'll play the campaign, but I don't know that there's plenty more multiplayer games I'm down with. I would rather reinstall Fortnite at this point than play Halo.
See, they were coming out with a Halo show
again.
See that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
That was funny, that commercial.
Then. Yes, perfect.
Yeah, that was that looked cool. I have to
look
say
cool.
that looks fun. I will say that it's now to the point where the video game itself and the TV show animation for Master Chief is one and the same. I'm like, that's exactly. I mean, I'm kind of glad. Like, if they would have tried to put a dude in a suit and be like, "You're Master Chief," be like, "No, that's not how that works." It would have been like some kind of, I don't know, sports mascot or something.
They could have put
not to get
somebody
ahead
in
of
like
ourselves.
they could have done like a not Iron Man, who's the sidekick that War Machine. They could have done something like that maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah,
it looks really cool. I'm down.
It's just weird to not hear Steve Downs doing the voice of Master Chief. It's somebody else completely.
Is it?
Yeah, it's someone completely different. Which is weird because they got the literal voice actress of Cortana to not only be the voice of Cortana, she's also the actual physical person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like y'all couldn't get Steve Downs. What's going on?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
But despite that, I'm still gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Was it on like Paramount Plus or something like that?
Yep.
I don't even think I have that.
That's
No.
it's
You
on
will.
Novacell now.
You will.
Also,
A lot
Hopefully
of
there's
people
like
get
a free trial where I
trials.
can
Yeah.
binge them out. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, just binge it out, get that free trial. The last multiplayer I played and started with Chris the Rock on Saturday morning, Destiny 2.
Destiny
and it couldn't
2.
have come at a better time to jump into Destiny 2. Not just because it's actually a really fun looter shooter that feels like, to me, at least my first impressions are, it's like Halo and Lord of the Rings mashed together, and that's kind of glorious to me. And then, of course, I'm a sucker for loot. Like, just give me a gun that's slightly better or different or has a little perk, and I'm like, ooh, shinies. But on top of that, it's now a PlayStation IP, so I feel like an affiliation to it, and then I have to play it.
That's not a PlayStation IP. What are you talking about?
It is now. They bought it.
They sure did.
PlayStation owns it.
Yeah.
Yep.
$3.6 billion.
$1 billion, which feels like chump change. It feels like,
$20 now.
Pennyweather,
Yeah.
penny bags walking in with his pennies and be like, "I'd like to buy this." And Xbox is like, "Here, hold my juice box," and then drops 70 billion. So, anyways, but yeah, I'm a quick fan of Destiny 2. Definitely gonna be playing more of that with Chris. I'll give random updates on that when we get deeper into it. The last thing I want to drop while it's hot, Game Pass games. I jumped into a few.
Did you
I
know?
tried them out. One of them one of them abandoned me.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Oh, no.
I didn't find out till it was too late. Old Cyber Shadow.
Oh, that left the service.
It left today.
Yes.
The last day was yesterday, and so I checked in today, and I was like, let's see, maybe they'll still let me play it. It was like, yeah, you need to sign in and purchase this if you want to play it more.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a Lucas. That's a Lucas with a C game right there.
That is totally a Lucas with
Yep.
a C game. Like I was playing it, and I was like, all right.
Kukas?
And let me tell you, I was surprised how it escalated pretty quickly in the boss area. Patrick, I know you played a good bit of it.
No, I played the demo of it when it came out. I think it was last year for like Summer Games Fest or whatever, and I was like, this is a Lucas game, and it felt like a Dead Cells, Metroidvania kind of.
That's right,
like,
isn't it like a 2D like
It's
kind of platformer game?
Yeah,
it's Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah,
It's
I
Nintendo
played
that.
Ninja Gaiden. Like straight up, like the animation for when you jump and slash your sword. You know how Ninja Gaiden, like there's no frills. He just slashes while he's
Yeah.
like standing in midair. It's exactly like that.
Yeah, I
It
played
felt
that
like
when
I
it
was
first
playing
came
Ninja
out.
Gaiden. Yeah. But yeah, so it got kind of tough, and I was like, all right. But then when I found out it was leaving, I'm like, I ain't got time to push through this. Like, there's no way I can, play Uncharted and do, play multiplayers with you guys and all that. So I got to like a huge mecha dragon, and it was like, I
And I'm done.
can't do this right now. It's a pretty fun game, and if I get the chance to play it later on, I'll pick it back up again. Another game that I will likely pick back up again, but was also surprisingly difficult. I played with Mindy and James this week, and that was Tetris Effect. They have a 3-player co-op where you go up against a Tetris master based on a zodiac sign, which is kind of random, but like we fought Pisces and Sagittarius. Pisces we took down, or maybe it was the other way around. So one of them, Sagittarius or Pisces, one of them we took down like a punk. The other just destroyed us. You pretty much like have 3 separate columns for yourself. Like each of you has a normal board, but then once you make enough lines, it combines you all into one Tetris board, and you work together to get as many lines as you can. And then when you finish within the time of that combined time, it adds those lines to the computer. And that's pretty much the only way you can attack the computer. But during your normal time, the computer is constantly like shooting laser beams and like tossing in bricks and doing all these attacks. And I'm like, that's not cool. It was really tough. We did a couple runs, and we did okay. It was, but we didn't get very far. So, but it was still fun. It was a fun time. The other game I played was with Mindy, and it was Unpacking. And I have to say, Patrick, it really is what it says it is. You're literally just unpacking. And I was like,
it is so cathartic.
I like, all right. And so
for people who love
unpacking.
that game, you guys
We're
can
unpacking.
join me this month.
And I have to say, it did not give a good first impression to me. And I think it's because it's just unpacking. And I am not made that way. That is not my personality. I have to say that as I started taking out items and putting them on shelves, for example, I started putting books on a shelf, and then all of a sudden I had too many books for the shelf I chose, and it made me a little angry. I was like, you're telling me I got to move all these books if I'm going to keep them together? I'm like, you know what, man? Forget you. No,
Honestly, it sounds like something I wouldn't even try. I would hate it. I know I would hate it.
You would. And then we got to the end of the action, and one of the books we put on the desk was a journal and had a lock on it, and it was just blinking red, and it wouldn't let us proceed. And we're like, what's happening? Why can't we proceed? Why is this? And we're like, is it in the wrong place? And we felt like we put it everywhere. Like we put this stupid journal.
And it didn't give you like
everywhere.
any instruction.
Nothing. It gave no indication of anything. It just blinked
Those are
red.
the worst games, man.
The journal's blinking red, and it's like, it's clear that it's not in the right place. So we put it on the desk, we put it on the bed, we put it on the floor, we put it on the shelf, we put it here, that, and the other. Finally, I have to Google it. This is the first level of the game.
You've
I have
had to
to
Google
I
unpacking.
had to Google to figure out where to put this stupid journal.
There was a
thought-
specific spot.
I thought you were good.
Yeah.
I thought you were good at games. I really thought
I'm
you were good at
apparently
games.
not.
when girls have a journal, where do you put it? You don't put it in on a shelf. You put it under your pillow.
Under the
100% under your pillow.
Wait, it accepts under the pillow? You could put it under the pillow?
I would have never guessed that.
Where did you put it?
Well, online it said to put it in the drawer in the desk, and so that's what we did.
I put it under the pillow, and that's where it
under the pillow. You want to sleep on top of the journal?
That's where your journal is. It's safe.
That's uncomfortable.
Hey, girls are weird, man. What are you gonna do?
Safe, man.
It already has a lock on it. You don't have to put it in a safe place.
If it has a lock on it, why can't you put it underneath the rug? Or
it has a lock on it. You could display it in the street. You could walk around in the street and say, "Hey, who wants to try to break into my journal?" It's got a lock on it.
Yeah, what the heck? Why not?
Why do I have to hide? Why do I have to hide it? So I put it in a drawer and it accepted it. And I was like, "Wait, you're gonna tell me what to do? You're gonna tell me how to unpack my boxes? I don't know about this." So that was my first impression. But and I will say that it fit more with Mindy's personality. She did at some point be like, "What's the point of this game again? Is it really just unpack stuff?" And I'm like, "I think so."
There's not one.
She's like, "I don't know about this." She needs a point. Like she needs a goal. Like she's like, "What's the reward for getting in the right places?" I'm like, "We unpack some more boxes in another place."
Yeah, you get to keep doing it.
So we're still giving it a chance, but it's like,
wait, you're still playing it? It should be a one-sitting game.
Is it really? No, we played one sitting and then we moved on to other things that we enjoy.
Well,
I'm like, we're gonna. I'm like, you kept bringing stuff out of the. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of experience packing and unpacking, and I like knowing what's in the box.
You've been doing it all wrong your entire life.
I don't like not knowing what's in the box. Like,
What's in the
box?
What's in the box?
But it stressed me out to like click the box and then it gave me a mystery item. I'm like, what? I don't know how to plan where I'm going to put this stuff. I need to know what's in the box. Like even if it said,
when someone gave you the Rubik's Cube, what did you do with it? Did you put it underneath the bed or on the dresser?
Yeah, I threw it on the floor.
Exactly. That's where it needs to go.
No, but
stuff on the floor?
The game would have told me it was wrong. It would have blinked red and been like, red, and then I don't know what to do with that. I put the things where I want to put it because I'm an adult. I do what I want.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with. I may not agree with your review of unpacking, but I agree with not being.
It's not my review. It's a preview. We do want to do a few more levels and see if it clicks with us.
Right.
Oh,
I can't wait for the next update on this.
Oof.
Absolutely cannot wait for the next update on this.
Oh yeah, you'll get it. The last one I played, Slay the Spire. I love it. I did 2 runs. Of course I did. It's a roguelike.
It's a game
card game.
That's you.
It's me. It's me. It's just like, yep, this is it. 1 run a day keeps the roguelike fever away.
Yeah.
And so
unpacking is not punishing enough. So you're like,
no, now
I want difficultness.
If I put the journal in the right place and then it killed a dragon, then I would be cool. Yeah. I'd be like, all right, this is the game for me. All right. I've already talked too much, so I'm done. Who's next? Mark, you're the M after the L.
Mark with a C.
Go ahead. Oh, wait, you should have gone first.
You should have went first.
I totally did this wrong. So sorry.
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 Yeah, man, it's been a pretty chill week. Really not a whole lot on the real life side of things, other than Wednesday, I was heading out to, because I have to drive an hour-ish out to church for worship team practice.
Yeah, you do.
And
trekking.
Thankfully, I did not get very far outside of the city of Lynchburg, where my car started having some major issues with it. It started like jerking, like every time I try to accelerate forward, it would like jerk forward. Then it started shaking, and then the check engine light came on. I'm like, okay, I should not continue driving this vehicle all the way to South Boston. So had to immediately turn around and get Kristen's car. So unfortunately my car has sat for the better part of the week. Thankfully, got it brought in on Monday. Had my former place of work take a look at it, and turns out it needed a new ignition coil and a tune-up. So
You have terrible luck with cars, I feel like.
yeah.
Yep.
I've totaled one, so that was fun.
I bet.
But yeah, so about $300 later, and which I guess it could have been a lot worse, but still wasn't a fun thing to have to deal with.
You're never ready to part with $300 just to have what you already had.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the worst. Yeah.
Yep. It's not something fun. Although I guess
No,
driving
definitely
can
not.
be fun. But I kind of need a point
It
A to
can be.
point B. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was honestly the biggest highlight on the real life side of things. On the gaming side, so definitely played some Apex last week with Pat and Justin. I think we got like 3 or 4 wins down there, so that was a nice night. Definitely excited for the new season coming next week. Ready for season 12. They announced a new character. She's kind of like an old character, but they're introducing her as an official playable character now. She's someone related to.
Are you being ageist? Is that why you're talking about her being
Yes.
old? That's not very nice.
She's totally like walking around with a walker, and
been 84 years.
that's her ultimate ability. Is she yells at people to get off her lawn.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
No. It's a character they've previously revealed that is tied to another character in the game. There's a character named Fuse. The new character's name is Mad Maggie. So they're introducing her as a legend. So that'll be cool. But yeah, had a good night, got a few wins down. The rest of the week, man, I was giving some love to my Switch. Because it was mainly Switch games for the rest of the week. Because I had talked to Lucas earlier on in the week, and he had mentioned, he's like, a game that I would really like, that you would really like, Mark, is a game called Shovel Knight. And he's like, I've been really considering buying that, and I thought maybe at one point I had bought it, but I hadn't. And it turned out that the game was actually the whole collection of like the main game and like 4 or 5 other DLC type games.
5 DLCs?
Yeah. Was
Yeah, baby.
was
Jeez.
$25.
Not bad.
So not bad
They're
at
full
all.
story DLCs too.
Yep.
They're excellent.
Yep.
Full stories, like 13 hours.
14,000 hours.
14,000.
All right, I don't know about 13 hours.
Dr. Evil.
14,000 hours.
Millions of hours.
It's over 9,000. No, but
So many references at once for different things.
Right.
But no, so I decided to buy the game and decided to get started on that. I'm pretty well in, I think. I think I'm like 3 bosses in 3 of the nights.
Of 19?
I don't know how many there are. I don't think there are that many, but
I don't know. 5
No,
DLCs, you feel like there's going to be 400 of them.
well, I think with the DLCs, you go back and play as those knights. The knights that
You
you're
do, you
defeating.
play as
So
the
things.
villains.
800 of them?
Yes.
Yep.
Like, wait, hold on. Whoa. So
Whoa.
you defeat a boss and you become the boss?
In the other DLC, you'll play as the bosses that you've defeated.
Oh, dude, that's cool.
Yeah. So I think I've beaten like 3 or 4 of those guys. And then Friday hit, and I jumped into Pokémon Legends Arceus, which I know no one else except for maybe Ronnie is interested in this whatsoever. But yeah, so jumped into it. I started playing the game, and it was I started talking to the guys in the MTTG Discord, and I was like, this is kind of boring to me. Like, this is really slow, and I didn't know 100% how I would feel about this, because a lot of what you're doing is catching Pokemon and adding to what's called the very first Pokedex, which is basically, if you're not familiar with it, is like an encyclopedia of all the different Pokemon around the world.
How many are in the
You
game?
have to fill it out.
That's a good question. I don't know how many Pokemon are actually in the game. It spans across multiple generations of Pokemon.
Millions.
Yeah,
Millions.
because it's not just limited to like the first 151 or whatever. It's like all across the different gens that they've had so far. But yeah, I was getting kind of bored just because the tutorial, or what turns out to be a tutorial, just kind of drags a little bit. But once the story and stuff started unfolding, and they kind of let you go off and do what you want to do, then it was fun being able to go out and catch the Pokemon, fight against Pokemon. And I was a little concerned because they don't necessarily have the traditional trainers, gym trainers, like they do in the regular mainline Pokemon games. So I was concerned about, okay, am I just going to be catching Pokemon the whole time? But no, there's battles that you are a part of against different people, different Pokemon, things like that. So once that started opening up, I started becoming more interested in it. I'm about 6 or 7 hours in. I will say, and even for a Nintendo game, and I was talking to Ronnie about this, like, that game looks a little rough. It's a little rough for a Nintendo game. They should have put a little bit more work into it. Everybody kind of calls this Pokemon Breath of the Wild, because there's this kind of expansive open world kind of thing where you can go off and basically do whatever you want to do, and even down to like some of the sound effects for like crafting and picking up items sound very similar to the Breath of the Wild type sounds and things like that. But yeah, there's a little bit of jank to it. It's not like completely like takes you out of things, I don't want to play this game anymore, but it's like, man, y'all could have let this cook a little bit longer. But
it does look a little rough. Like I'm glad you talked about this game because I haven't played it yet, but Eric actually has been really pumping it up, trying to get me to play.
Yeah.
And I like Pokemon stuff, but I would consider myself more of like a casual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just a casual fan. Like I played Pokemon Go for a while, which I really liked. And this game looks really cool. Like it just, I like the open world aspect of it where you can kind of journey around. And I think from what I understand, there's your main storyline. There's some side quests and stuff like that. I just worry about buying it. I think it may be $60, 50 or $60.
Yeah, it's $60.
And like getting burnt like a little bit because the graphics are really horrible. So the content of the game then has to be a lot better.
Yeah.
And then I missed like, so I guess from the original like Pokemon and then like maybe a couple additions of new Pokemon after that, like, and then there was this like 10-year gap where I didn't pay attention to any of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's so much out there that I don't even know what it is. But I think I probably will eventually try it. So
yeah, I'm in a lot of the same boat you are there. I mean, there's tons of Pokemon that I'm encountering that I've never seen before, never heard of. I was very much a fan in the early days, but lately I've been very outside looking in. So
yeah, it seems like a
It's
lot
like-
of crazy ones and stuff now. It's just
there's
it
like
was kind of cool when
800
it was
of
the
them.
original ones.
I think there's like 820 or 30.
Yeah, there's so many.
It's crazy.
yeah.
There's so many.
Well, like Mark and I were talking a little bit about this before we started, and I watched a YouTube video earlier. It was either today or yesterday, just like an overview of the game and like some gameplay and stuff. And the first thing that jumps out is the graphics are bad, but it is a game that it's a benefit for you to go out and to wander around and just kind of explore the world.
Yep.
And I kind of like that. I like that aspect of it. It
Yeah.
rewards you for doing that.
I think you need to maybe wait till you get your old, New Year's PS5 and pick up that old Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West. And
Speaking
go
of that,
explore. Oh,
coming up next.
Ooh. Spoilers.
It's not what you think.
oh,
Oh.
dang it! Don't be doing that. Don't be messing with my soul.
Speaking of that, not happening at all. Ooh.
Gosh,
Okay.
don't break my heart, Ronnie.
But yeah, that's been pretty much what I've been doing for gaming this past weekend, is mainly just hanging out with the Switch, and then obviously I played Halo Infinite as well with you guys.
Yeah, you were a SWAT master. You were leading the way with the SWAT.
Every game, I'm like, man, I want to win once, and I really didn't want to. Sorry.
Well, once we went into regular matches, like your regular Slayer matches, like I was not.
You didn't say that right.
Slayer matches.
Slayer.
That's better. Okay.
Yeah, the regular
Kill streak.
and the regular double kill. The regular.
There's nothing
the
better than when you
flag.
get like a bunch of those in a row. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the run of my life.
Yep.
Get you so pumped.
I have
Killing
never heard that
spree.
in my life. I say it to myself. Walking spree. Jumping in the air till you fall.
Dying
Don't
spree.
die. Yeah. You've died more than anyone.
They have that-
Congratulations.
They have that in
Streak.
Splitgate as well, but it's not. It's not as cool. It's more like double kill, triple kill, kind of like announcer kind of
Yeah.
person. But
Hmm.
but yeah, no, it was definitely fun playing Halo Infinite with you guys. SWAT is my game. It always has been my game. Headshots, like that's where I've learned to practice my headshots. Not that I'm the master at it, but I mean, playing SWAT, you need to know how to get headshots. But
I'm terrible at headshots.
Yeah.
I was
okay.
totally surprised in Uncharted 1 when I hit 100 headshots, and I'm like, don't you lie. I hit those guys' shoulders like over and over again. Whatever works. I'll take the huge
Busting
head
up the
hit
old
boxes.
shoulders.
Yeah,
It's an
they're like,
earshot.
that's close enough.
Good luck
headshot."
raising your gun now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. And also jumped into Zelda: Link to the Past this past Saturday.
Woo.
Mhm.
Yep. So we are. I think I'm about halfway through now because we're basically into
Sweet.
the low world, underworld.
Low rule?
Yeah,
Low
that's what it's
rule?
called. High
Sounds
rule,
sounds like a
or
real-
low rule.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
It sounds like a rap artist. Yo, I'm DJ Low Rule.
yeah. Basically,
The
the
Ja
underworld.
Rule's like cousin.
Yep, Low Rule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that's DMX.
Yep.
Well, he kind
Except
of
Low Rule.
he kind of sounds
Low
like
Rule's
that
like,
too.
yep.
So baby girl, put it on me.
I thought you were gonna go into Christmas shoes.
So what about these shoes?
Ja Rule Christmas shoes. I'd pay me
Isn't
good
it
money
Ja
for
Rule?
that.
Oh no, that's a DMX Christmas
Yeah.
that I'm thinking of.
DMX could do it too. It'd be perfect.
R.I.P.
Have you ever heard the DMX Christmas song, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Ranger? It's the worst song.
No, I'm not.
It's
Oh,
DMX
really?
singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. That's exactly what you think.
Well,
It's
given
horrible.
given that you mentioned DMX Christmas, that's exactly what I expected.
It is honestly, it's exactly what you would expect. It's horrible, man. It's funny though.
But they call it DMXmas.
It has
I
to.
have no
It
idea.
has to be right.
But I know. The DMXmas album. Let's go.
Yeah.
Jingle bells. Oh goodness. Okay, but yeah, that is it for me.
All right.
All right.
All right. Patrick.
Is it me?
Old-
Am I
Old
third?
Patty.
You are the next in
Patty.
line, sir.
Oh,
It's
Yes,
your
it's-
turn.
so for my week there, lads. I did a few things this
Lady.
past week. Yes, I did a few things. I played some little PS5. It's been pretty
Did
good.
you know? Oh,
Yes,
that's
it's-
great.
Yeah, I played on
And there go
Uncharted.
our Irish listeners.
Uncharted.
I played Uncharted
Uncharted.
4, and I got that PS5 upgrade, right? No,
Yeah.
So I really nothing for like this week. Nothing on the life front happened except for we could go straight into video
Stuff for the
games.
topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight
You're
into
gonna go straight into video games.
All your real life was topic.
uh,
Sports ball.
I played Uncharted 4, and I'm into the PS5 upgrade. And my goodness, like there's no
Beauteous.
loading. There's no loading. It's beautiful, running on that crisp 30 frames per second, 4K. Ray tracing. It's beautiful.
Somewhere
I tried
Chris
to
is screaming.
So right now I'm playing it on crushing. I'm taking it slow, and crushing is like the hardest difficulty. Maybe brutal is the hardest of the hardest
Yeah.
difficulty. But I think
Brutal is like
crushing,
one-shot death.
yeah, crushing right now, and I'm playing it on crushing, and it doesn't feel like it's the crushing of Uncharted 1.
Right.
And I'm getting hit maybe 3 or 4 times before I die. And crushing in Uncharted 1, I was dying after I got shot twice.
Easy. You get hit 3 or 4 times and you die sometimes. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, what? I played this on easy. What are you doing? I should get hit at least 10 times.
So I'm playing on crushing, and I'm getting through some, I'm getting to some points in the game where, I'm dying. I'm like, okay, this is really my fault because I'm not in cover and I'm not doing it right. And then either I'm hiding or I'm doing it and I'm sneaking around. I'm shooting, doing some headshots and things like that. Not doing shoulder shots, headshots. And that
doesn't work in Uncharted 4.
Yeah, right. So it's been fine. I think I'm in chapter 9 or 10. I think it's like 26 chapters or something like that. Yet. So I'm like in the first third of the game, and it's so beautiful. Going from Golden Abyss to Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Well, Uncharted 2 and 3 are beautiful games. I mean, they're still beautiful games. But Uncharted 4 is just a huge leap in graphicalness ish things.
Graphicalness.
Yeah.
Put that on the box.
It's really pretty. It's really pretty. So I've been playing that really this past, and I've only played like maybe a few days this past week. I played a little bit of Apex, maybe 1 or 2 nights this past week, and I haven't really played much this past week because there's been a lot going on this past week. So my son and I on Friday night we watched SmackDown, because on this past Monday we were going to go see Raw in live here in Cincinnati.
By the way, you've totally changed my perception on adults that watch wrestling. Like you're the first person like that has changed what I believe to be the case.
What do you mean?
You are not what I would have thought.
You're bucking
what does
the
that mean?
stereotype.
I just assumed that the people left the NASCAR race to go to the wrestling events.
So all right. So I'm gonna go straight to WWE. I'm gonna go straight there. And it was Clark's first wrestling event. I was 7 years old when I went to my first WCW wrestling event, and this is his first wrestling event for WWE. And so like I went and sat last September for the first time in like 20 years. And so went with my buddy back in September. That was fun. And I was like, okay, the next time they come into town, I'm bringing Clark. But I wanted to go to like a more family friendly section. And I was hoping I went the opposite side because the last time we had a really bad, really bad time.
We remember.
Yeah, really bad
remember
time.
That guy.
So I was like, I'm gonna go to the opposite side, and I told my buddy, I was like, I hope those kids around us, because there's usually when there's kids around us, there's gonna be adults that are gonna be acting
like adults.
Their
like
age.
Adults, like parents. And so we sit down, and there's like 5-6 kids around us. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be good, and it ended up being really good. Throughout the night. So we get there and it's like 7:00. The show doesn't start till 7:30. So they do 30 minutes of like what they call main event. It's like Saturday morning, 2 matches. For an hour, they do that. And then the show doesn't start till 8, and then it goes until 11. So we were sitting there for 4 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, my son is one of those kids who just needs to move. There's no way that he is going to be able to sit here for 4 hours. But he did. He sat for like 4 hours because there was a lot of action going on. Not only was the action going on, but like instead of commercials, they do a lot of fan cams. They do the John Cena "You Can't See Me" cams. They do like the flex cams and things like that, like more like wrestling cams, which is really cool. So Clark was in there and he was doing his dances. He was on the jumbotron and everything. So it was really
He
cool.
made
And
it onto the jumbotron.
yeah, he did.
Nice.
It was really
Nice.
cool.
That is
So
awesome.
yeah, he was on there for maybe like 2 seconds, but it was really neat. And I wanted to make it because it was his first time at a WWE event. I wanted to make it a memorable one. So I was like, okay, let's go to the merch store. Let's get you a shirt or whatever else you want. So the first thing he looks at is he sees like a gold chain necklace.
Yes.
And at
Oh
the
my
end of the
gosh.
necklace was the WWE logo with like diamond, like
Yes.
those like fake diamonds, and he was like, I want that. And I was like, all right, buddy, I'm gonna get you that. So he puts that on. He's like, I also want to get a shirt. So there's only like 2 kids shirts that they have. All of them are like all adult sizes. So I get him one of his shirts, and he was so pumped to wear that, both the chain and the shirt.
The chain,
And
that's awesome.
and it's crazy because I've been watching wrestling for the past couple of years, and he knows I watch it, and he'll look at the TV, but really he's never sat down and watched it. So it was really cool to sit there and tell him who's up, who I want to win, and when fireworks were going to happen. And there's a lot of fireworks and fire, and whether it's from the stage or the ring or in the rafters, he was like in awe. And he usually goes to bed around 8 o'clock. And the show didn't start until 8 o'clock. So I'm like, I don't know how long this kid's gonna last. And so we were there for, it was like about 2.5 hours. It was around 10:30, and you could see him starting to fade. He's yawning. He puts on his jacket. He puts his hood on, and he's just sitting there. And he's like staring straight. And when you stare straight where we were sitting, I mean, there was nothing there. There was you had to look left to see what's going on in the ring. And he was just staring straight. And he did that for about 20 minutes. And then like the main event happened, and he started standing up, and he got a second wind. So yeah, it was good. We had pretzels, we had popcorn, nachos. I wanted to make sure that it was memorable for him, and he had a great time. It was awesome to be on the other end. When my dad used to take me to wrestling events, and now I'm taking my son to wrestling events. It's just a whole different thing. And the only thing that he
Magical.
wanted, yeah, and the only thing he wanted to see was John Cena. And I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to see John Cena. But they did like during like, because John Cena is already retired, he's not wrestling anymore. He does other things. But they did like the John Cena fan cam. They played his music, and I was like, so he at least got to experience that a little bit.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Awesome weekend. The Royal Rumble happened on Saturday, it's what like the number 2 wrestling event of the year besides WrestleMania. So we watched a little bit of that. He didn't stay up for the entire thing on Saturday night. But yeah, it was a jam-packed sports weekend. Like it was wrestling and football. And I'm not going to talk because I know we're going to be talking more about sports here later this evening. But if you can tell by my background, if you're watching the YouTube, if you're not watching the YouTube, if you're audio only, I have the Bengals background. And the Bengals did something this past weekend, which they haven't done in over 30 years. But I'm gonna hold off on that.
Put a pin in it. You can
Put a pin
hear
in
it
it.
and see it.
Right there. You hear that? Put the pin in it. And I'm gonna transition over to Ronnie right now.
What sound does
What-
the pin make? It sounds like a fart.
Like a SBD, little silent but deadly guy.
It's like one of those little air farts that barely make any
Storm's moving
sound.
away.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also had a really busy week. Obviously, we've been working towards getting the house ready to sell and all of that good stuff. The actual reason I wasn't here last Monday was I had the realtor coming over and taking pictures of the house. It was actually really cool. So it was one of the virtual 3D tours that she basically took the pictures of. She moved this giant camera around the house like 3 to 4 feet at a time. So it took like 2 to 3 hours. But it was really cool, like a whole virtual rendering of your house. Like, it's pretty neat to look at. So she came on Monday to do that, and then it took about 48 hours for that virtual tour to basically populate, and then we listed it on Wednesday morning
Okay.
of last week. I will tell you one thing that I did not consider when listing my house up until Tuesday afternoon when I knew it was going to go live on Wednesday morning was that I can't be at my house and I work at my house. That's one thing I really hadn't considered. Like, well, crap. I haven't talked to my boss or anything about this because I didn't even think of it. So I did end up getting Wednesday and Thursday off, so that I could be out of the house, which was horrible, by the way. Like, not being able to go to your house like for the whole day, and you actually don't like have anything to do. Because once you remove yourself from your area, you have nothing to do. Like, you're gone, you're away from all your things. So I get up on Wednesday morning and I head like over to my mom's, and I'm sitting there. Like, I get there, like I fought their dogs like all day. Like, she has a giant lab bear. I think I've talked about him before.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a jerk, honestly. Like, he's just a flat out jerk of a dog. He just wants to pick a fight with you all the time.
I remember when he was cute and lovable.
He's never really been lovable. He was cute though. He was cute. He's always been kind of a monster. Like,
pretty sure you shoved him in the water and
that was my mom that pushed him in with the fountain.
Oh, I thought you were the one that pushed him in the pool.
Oh, I threw him in. Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Well, I mean, we all learned to swim somehow. I think dogs automatically know how to swim, by the way. I've never seen a dog that couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Like, they are just automatically like good swimmers.
Even if you
and
put
especially
them
labs, like
right above the water, they're already paddling.
Thus,
yeah, like
the
they know what to do.
Paddle.
Yeah, especially like labs, they're just ready to go at all times. But so basically, I left Wednesday morning, and the entire morning Wednesday, we really did not get that many showings scheduled. So what happens is they send them to your phone, and you basically select yes or no if you want to go ahead and book that or confirm the showing. So it started pretty much at midday, about lunchtime on Wednesday. They kind of just started flooding in. So like Wednesday evening up until like, man, it must have been 8 o'clock, maybe 8 p.m. We had showings like every 30 minutes. Yeesh. And it was really, I mean, it was kind of cool. You know, you want as many people to see it as possible. And then we started getting a ton, honestly, for Thursday also. So what we ended up having in 2 days between Wednesday and Thursday was 22 showings of the house.
Wow.
And we decided we were going to make a decision on Thursday night. So actually, while we were sitting there on Thursday night at about 8:30 p.m. with our realtor, we were waiting on an offer to come in. We already had 7 offers.
Oh my gosh!
At the
time.
So we were waiting on the 8th offer. The 8th offer was the one. You know, I won't like get into numbers, but the market is crazy. I got $30,000 over the listing price that we were asking for.
That's insane.
Dang.
It is absolutely insane. The value of my house in 10 years was, I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm glad I made the decision now for sure, because my house will probably never be that valuable again. And the fact that I'm not staying here doesn't really make sense, you know?
Yeah.
I am, however, we started moving some stuff into the apartment. I am going to hate the apartment probably. Like once you move from a lot of space to a little bit of space.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought I was done with this, like as an adult, like, oh, well, the apartment's not happening again. But yeah, so we agreed to sell the house. Now we're just going through, we had the inspection Monday, and then he actually came back at some point today. He actually had to wait till the snow melted off the roof and like the rear deck so he could look at it. So waiting on that. And then the appraiser is going to come in and appraise it. And if everything is good, then at the end of February, we will be out for good. So it all happened really fast once we started.
Very fast.
Yeah. That means sometime in
yeah,
March you should be getting some additional, packages in the mail or.
yeah. We
The
were
best
talking
thing.
about this today. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned it because Patrick texted me today, and what was it? MLB The Show that's going to be coming straight to Game Pass.
It
Try to
is.
get it on PlayStation, you have to pay $50 for it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, PlayStation's not giving me a ton of reason to get it, though.
Yeah.
What are they, like
Don't do this.
$800?
Ooh.
Whoa! Don't do
This
this to me.
is
Come on.
I mean,
I'm honestly like I'm hoping that you guys are going to talk me into it
It's
because
the
I'm running out of
everything else.
reasons. Yeah.
man, this is a tough decision. So if you're
But
looking to
here's
get-
the thing though too that you have to consider is I'm not a typical gamer that will just like play a bunch
Right.
of games like you guys
Right.
play games every week that are new. I don't really do that. Like every few weeks like I might play a new game or something like that, but I'm not always like right on top of it. There's a ton of games out on Game Pass where I'm like, that might be okay, but then I just never get around to playing it. So with the type of gamer that I am, does it make sense to spend that kind of money on a system? Because what I'm spending it on, like I can't think of a single game at this second that I would be like, I'm getting that with my PlayStation and I want to start playing that immediately. I don't have that game.
I mean, these are good questions to ask. Absolutely. Like, obviously Lucas, Pat, and myself, we are those kind of gamers to where it makes sense to get both systems because of how much we play. But that's the big deciding factor for a lot of people, and it's nice that we are able to have both of those systems. But for someone that's only choosing between one or the other, that's one of the big things I always mention. I always say is like, where are your friends playing, and what are you into? Those are the big things that determine, which one you get if you're only picking one. So I mean, it makes sense for you to go Xbox.
I'm gonna
Yeah, it
interject.
does. And for me, just so you guys are aware,
Dang
I'm
it.
not picking between them.
Yeah,
I'm 100% buying an Xbox. The question is whether I also buy a PlayStation or not.
yeah.
I feel like the PS collection
is that still available?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Are you
someone could fact check it. I could fact check it, but I'm pretty sure the PS collection is still a thing.
I mean, in the climate
So-
we're in right now, like, boy, Game Pass is looking better every single day. Like,
Oh no, Game Pass is
They're
banging.
just killing it with
It's
Game Pass.
It's a great thing, but I feel like there are some PlayStation exclusives that you would really enjoy, like God of War, The Last of Us.
That would be probably a game I would play as God of War. I've only heard
I
all good
think-
things about it. I've never played
I
it.
think you would really like it.
Yeah,
and it would be
I think-
worth the money.
I-
And you
It
can get
actually
now
looks
for
like a game that I would
$10.
really like.
You can get it for $10 now. It's like ridiculous how cheap it is. So
Yeah.
yeah. The
So I think
classics
it's going to
that
be
you
more of a
really-
once I get the move and everything and I get settled. Like I might start looking out for one, but like that's the thing. It's not like when we were younger and the system is like $300, $400. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
but
Like,
it is. If Patrick finds it for you, you can get it normal price.
but also
I
I will tell you that the Xbox that I have right now, I bought the like mid-tier one with like the medium amount of memory, and it is absolutely not even close to ever being enough memory. And I will not make that mistake
Yeah.
again. If I have to spend more money to get more memory to get the better one, I will 100% do that this time.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing
you
is you
definitely
can
want the
add
Series
memory.
X.
You can add memory to the console.
Always add memory. Yes.
So the thing you have to think about is, so I can't remember how much space the Series X has.
1 terabyte
1 terabyte? Okay.
1 TB.
or like 800 gigs
Yeah, 'cause
after
then it's
operating
the-
system, all that. Yeah.
Right.
I have no clue how much my system has right now, but it's barely any.
Yeah. So I will say, although if you go with Patrick, it doesn't really matter because he can pretty much find it anywhere. I've just noticed that the Series S.
He's like the guy in jail that can get things for you.
Yeah.
If you want an X now,
He
I can
is.
find one for you, like right now.
Yeah.
I know. I believe you. Honestly.
Just let me know when you want to pull the trigger. and
See,
I'll
I'm
get
in
it
this
done.
weird area where like I now haven't made up my mind. I've swayed back again to like for a period of time. I swayed back to like I'm just not even going to get a PlayStation, honestly. And then I'm like, well, I'm gonna have an opportunity to get one.
Yeah.
I think
And I feel like you don't always have that opportunity just to go ahead and buy one.
the biggest reason that you've had over the past couple of years was MLB The Show. That's really
Right.
the reason why you wanted to get it, and now it's on and it's free on Game Pass last year, and
Yep.
now it's free on Game Pass this year, and you have Game Pass, correct?
Yep.
So I don't know a definitive reason for you to get a PlayStation 5. Now,
Yeah.
for me and Lucas and also Mark, like for me at least, I love to play all the games.
Yeah.
And for PlayStation 5, they have the exclusives, the single player exclusives that are just by far the best single player experiences you're going to get on a console. I mean, I'm not a Xbox or an Xbot or a PS fanboy, either way, because I have all the
Sony
systems.
Sony Pony.
Sony
actually,
Pony,
is
whatever.
the,
I have
the
all
term.
I have all the systems, and I'm gonna buy it for whatever system either the cheapest or whatever, or where my friends are. And with Xbox and the way the systems are going nowadays, there's cross play, there's cross progression, which is awesome. With the new MLB The Show this year, is you can get it free on Game Pass. And if you had a PlayStation 5, you could buy it on PS5, and you could just continue your season, your franchise, your whatever it is on the other system, which is really cool. But with Game Pass, there's just so many games out there that I think
it seems like it's only going to get better.
I agree. It's only going to get better. They're ramping it up. It's only what Game Pass has really been a legitimate player for only 1 year.
Yeah.
Has it really been only 1 year? I thought
it's been around for 2 years, but really Game Pass was good, but it really didn't become great until about a year ago.
Yeah, they started releasing brand new games to it,
and they haven't stopped since then. They haven't stopped, and with them to continue to buy studios and put out games like MLB The Show and bring in Rainbow Six games, and also be included with EA Play, which you get the free Madden from the past year into your whole library. Which I know
Fusion Frenzy,
yeah, I mean, let's be honest, that's the greatest game of all time. Look out, God of War.
I don't know if we ever talked about that, Lucas, when you came in, but it is pretty fun, isn't it?
We did.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
It was fun.
So if you were to go on to the next generation, Xbox for you is the way to go. I'm not going to discount PS5.
Yeah,
never going to discount.
Well,
that.
and I may just I know that I'm going to buy the Xbox almost immediately after I move in. I basically can continue the gaming that I do now, like with the Xbox, the new one, and I might just set it aside. Like, not, I'm not like going to make a decision that I'll never get one. But if something is coming out that isn't exclusive that I really want to play, like that might be my reason then to buying a whole system for one game. Though it seems.
I will say this, Ronnie. There is word on the street that Sony is preparing a response to Game Pass.
Yeah, that will be definitely interesting to see what that is.
Right now, it's called Project Spartacus, and it's supposed to be a competitor to Game Pass. I mean, it's going to be like PlayStation Now, but improved. And PlayStation Now right now it's not the best.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's not but it's not Game Pass.
Yeah.
So whatever they come up with Spartacus, if that's going to be like a straight up competitor to Game Pass, now that would be a legitimate reason to get both consoles.
Agreed.
What that looks like, I don't know. Don't know yet.
Well, we do have time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's wild with PlayStation. They're like, hey, we're gonna do and really Xbox too, is they do a lot of cross platform play. Well, and then also they'll come out with games that are both for PS4 and PS5, and Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. So how long that's going to continue is anyone's guess, because of the delays in shipping and building, all that stuff. Because these systems are the fastest selling systems ever.
Yeah.
But they still, if they could get these in people's hands, this would be the most unbelievable generation of our time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think Xbox first, PlayStation next.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too. I mean, obviously, I really love the Switch, and I think I'll probably buy anything Nintendo comes out with next.
Yeah.
Because it's just a whole different console. Everything is different.
Yep.
It's more of a party console, I feel like, which is my favorite type of gaming. So, it works out good for me. But
And I think there's a lot of games out for PlayStation that, I mean, like just hearing about your gaming history, I'm pretty sure you're good at games. You know, if you're able to beat Enter the Gungeon, which, you know, I think I'm good at games, but I couldn't do it, and you were able to do it. Like, there's games out for PlayStation like Returnal that is just like, it's like Enter the Gungeon, where, you know, if
I
you
like
die,
Ghost of Tsushima looked like really good. Obviously, I heard you guys all talk about it.
so many good
That's right.
games that I think you would like, that you would do really well at, because I think you're good at games. So the challenge is for the PlayStation 5, for the games that they have, I think you would enjoy.
Yep.
Yeah, the flip side to all of this is that my soon-to-be wife also is a gamer, and she's not going to say no. Let's put it that way.
That's
If
good.
anything, she may talk me into it. So
Whatever works.
she's a good one. So obviously that's kind of a decision that will, you know, I'll keep you guys posted on whether I get it at first, maybe not.
Please do.
Maybe wait a little while, but yeah, my New Year's resolution, one of them is to game more with you guys. So, you know, that may be the avenue in which to do that, depending on the game. So
we all have Xboxes, we all have PlayStations.
We all have it all.
So
when did you get an Xbox, Lucas? I meant to ask this earlier because you started talking about a bunch of Xbox games.
I got them both while I was on
your trip. I knew you were getting the PS5. I didn't know if it was, I don't know if I heard about the Xbox.
That's why I'm telling you, get both. It's a great feeling.
With you have everything right at your
Don't
fingertips.
even have to think about it.
Nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Santa brought it to me, the Series S, and then the PS5. Patrick was Sherlock Holmes. He tracked it down, made it pop up like a daisy. It was amazing.
So other than the house, other than we'll call it the Decision 2022. Something big happened. Something really big. Something really big happened in Cincinnati. And that is our topic tonight.
Sports ball. Bengal style.
The Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. Man, what a time to be alive.
Hooday.
What a time to be alive in Cincinnati. So we found out this weekend the Bengals played the Chiefs for the AFC Championship and a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And it was an absolute nail-biter of a game. In fact, in the first half, the Bengals were down 21-3.
21-3.
It looked, honestly, I was even like, that shows you how far we are into this season. Like, as Bengals fans, as a Bengals fan, I was like, you know what? If they get blown out right here by the Chiefs, this was a great season. The greatest season of my life so far, basically.
Okay, so let's take it back. What do you mean? How is it the greatest season of your life?
So up until a few weeks ago, it had been 30 years since the Bengals won a playoff game. Technically, I was alive for that, but not aware of it. So we have just been a losing organization for so long. Mm-hmm. It was just one team after another. Like, they would give you a little bit of reason to get excited, then they'd rip your heart out. And it was literally just a repeat of that for basically most of my adult life. And then this team came along. Mostly Joe Burrow. The funny thing is, a month ago, if I started talking about Joe Burrow, people probably might not even know who he was.
So
But
who's Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is the mayor of Cincinnati.
Oh,
That's what Joe Burrow is. He's running this town now.
Before he is
Mayor.
now, yeah.
No, he's it's a second year's quarterback on the team. He came from LSU. He actually is an Ohio guy. He went to Ohio State in college for 2 years and didn't start, so he transferred to LSU, and then he won the national championship and the Heisman there with LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So he came back from the swamp, back to Cincinnati, and
After Cincinnati lost 14 of their 16 games.
Yep. It was not awesome
Not
this season. But honestly,
but
it was more
only
like
up
what
from
we all
there.
were expecting.
Yeah.
And
it was only up from there. So it's like, hey, we can only get better.
Yeah, and this is so it's amazing how fast teams actually turn over. So if you look back to the last time the Bengals were even in the playoffs, I don't know that anybody is still on the team at all.
I think the last time the Bengals won a playoff game, I think 2 people are alive from that team still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like they have made it to the playoffs in our lifetime.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. They made it to the playoff 3 times. 1 with Carson Palmer and 2 with Andy Dalton.
And they lost in the first round every time.
Yeah.
Usually in a horrible fashion.
Right.
Honestly. In a horrible, heart-ripping fashion. So no, our quarterback Joe Burrow, he's like, there's a million nicknames for him. They're all awesome.
Joe Cool.
Joe Cool is one of them because he's like the calmest under no matter what the circumstances are. He just looks like like nothing is going on around him all the time.
He looks like he's been there before.
It's honestly, it's pretty impressive. Like it is pretty impressive. So they call him Joe Cool. They call him Joe Burr because he's icy. They call him Joe Shiesty. I like that one. But yeah, there's a million nicknames, and it's just it's been a bizarre season. They weren't supposed to go this far, and
they're 125 to 1 odds at the start of the season to make the Super Bowl.
Yep. If you laid some money down on that bet, like you would have been killing it.
Right.
For sure. You lay down $1, you walk away with $125.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is.
I should have laid down like
nuts.
$8. Could have paid for my PS5.
Yeah.
So
that is
yeah,
not how much a PS5 costs.
So we found out this weekend they beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. So they've gone on the road almost the whole playoffs. They beat the number 1 team in AFC, which was the Titans the week before. And now they beat the Chiefs, who I think everybody probably could agree was the best team in the AFC.
The Chiefs have gone to the AFC Championship game, which is the Final Four in the conference where the Bengals are, the AFC. And they have been in 4 straight AFC Championship games.
Yep.
All signs pointed to the Bengals going in there and definitely losing. Yep. And as a fan who's just had a really fun time watching this team, I would have been honestly okay with it. I would have been like, this is a great season. You know, like it looks like what I thought when the Bengals started to win. I was like, you know what? This team's going to be really good in the future. They're going to be good. Like, they need another year or 2.
Yeah.
But they're going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. I did not expect them to win now. I did not expect that at all. So it's just been, it's hard to describe. After the game, what was it, Saturday? Was it Saturday or Sunday?
It was Sunday.
After the game Sunday, so like the entire city of Cincinnati was lit up orange. All the big buildings, the building you guys work at, the big orange crown on top of it, or tiara, or whatever you call it.
It is awesome, yeah.
Everything was orange, like across the whole city. And, you know, it's a magical thing, really, if you're a sports fan, because for the past, I don't know how many years, pretty much all of them of my life, you see people posting about the Bengals, and usually it's been people complaining, really, you know, on social media and things like that. And you're like, these people are the worst. And now everybody is together on the same side, rooting for the same people. It's like the whole city has come together behind this team. And it really, like, it sounds cheesy, but it really is a magical thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's all of a sudden yelling in public. Like, I'll wear my Bengals beanie out. Like, somebody yells "Hoo Day" every single time I go out in public. Like, it's just exciting.
Nobody says good morning anymore. It's who day in the morning. That's how you greet people.
Yeah.
This week at work is who day, and
Yeah.
it is absolutely insane.
Now,
And
can you
it's not
explain real quick? I don't know the history of it. I haven't looked it up.
yeah.
Will you say who day, and I'm like, who are they? Is this like
That's a good
That
question.
is pretty much it.
It's a very good
we're
question.
not sure who they are, but
Clark
we want to know.
had,
Who day?
you know, my 7-year-old had the same question. Like,
7-year-old.
what is who day?
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah. It is a very very big contraction of an entire sentence.
It's basically a Bengals. It's a Bengals
Contraction.
chant.
Yeah,
It's a Bengals chant.
Who
that we
thinks
use.
they're gonna beat them Bengals? It's
Who
and
they
it's-
think
it's-
going to beat
it's-
them Bengals?
It's who day. And so it was shortened to who day. And if you've ever seen New Orleans, the Saints that are in the NFC, they are who dat, and we are who day,
Okay.
and
Oh,
who
okay.
day think gonna beat them Bengals.
Yeah.
Nobody. And we've been chanting that for
It's never meant
30
anything until now.
years. And so like and we would play the Steelers have been the rivals for the Cincinnati Bengals for centuries, what it feels like. And so we say who day, they beat us, and they say we day. So it's like
Been happening for a long time, man.
yeah, and it's just like, and that's what it is. So now it's like we have that chant, and it has meaning behind it this year, and it feels good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said,
Yeah.
you just can't even go out in public. Like everybody has Bengal stuff on right now, and like it's bizarre too because you see right now Bengals like windbreakers from like the 1980s. Like people are like, oh, I can finally get this out, and like you see all the good stuff. Like like the old school Bengals fans, like you can tell like
There's
how
still
long they've
dust
had some
coming
this
off
stuff.
of the jacket. Yeah.
Oh man,
So why are people bringing that out? What happened this past weekend against the Chiefs?
So the Bengals went into Arrowhead Stadium into Kansas City, which is supposedly one of the hardest places to go in and win. It's an extremely loud stadium, really rowdy, and they won in overtime. They beat them in overtime. They came back from an 18-point deficit, and won at the very end of the game. It was just in a game that I'm sure every Bengals fan was watching. So the way overtime works in the NFL, there's a coin flip, and whoever wins the coin flip always they always want the ball, because if you take it down and you score a touchdown, the game's over. If you take it down and kick a field goal, the other team gets one possession. They get the ball to try and either match it or go down and score a touchdown to win. If the defense like intercepted a ball and takes it back for a touchdown, game's over. So basically, if any team scores a touchdown, the game's over.
Mhm.
And what happened last week with the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills is they went to overtime after an incredible game by both sides. And the Chiefs won the coin toss and went down and scored a touchdown. And the Bills never got to take the field again. So in this game, the Chiefs won the coin toss. They, of course, selected the ball.
No,
And-
the Bengals gave it to them because they chose heads. You always choose
Tails never
See.
fails.
I would have
Tails
went
never
heads
fails.
too. I would have went heads.
What?
I'm on the opposite side. Heads feels like it comes up more often.
It doesn't.
Feels like that.
It's 50-50.
Tails
That's
seems
wrong.
like you don't want to blow it on a tails call, but if you pick heads and
Tails
it doesn't
never
go your
fail.
way, then I feel like it's respectable.
Nope. You're still losing because you didn't
Agree
choose
to
tails.
disagree.
So, anyways, the Chiefs won the coin toss, and man, I'm pretty sure the Bengals stopped them on the very first drive. They threw a really deep pass on third down, and the
Third
Bengals
play.
intercepted it. They
Yep.
intercepted it, and I was like, oh my gosh. So now the possession changed. All the Bengals had to do was come down and kick a field goal to win, because both teams would have then had a possession. So, man, Joe Burr, like he just brought him down the field, got him right in a position. Everybody was pumped. I was like,
And,
I-
then you mentioned Joe Burr, but you need to also mention McPherson because he
Money
is
Mac, baby.
fire.
Money
21
Mac.
straight, 21 straight without a miss. He
Honestly,
is
and I will tell you that every one
goat
of his
right
kicks is absolutely right down the center.
Yeah,
It's like
they're perfect.
They're just like, it doesn't look like he's even trying.
They could make the uprights 5 feet across, and he would hit it.
Yeah,
Based on
there was
what
a
he's
meme I
done.
saw going around, and it had a picture of McPherson like after the Chiefs game, like everybody's like, roughing him up and stuff, and it just said, "That's why you draft a kicker." The Bengals drafted him in the first round.
I'm pretty sure
or in the fifth round.
They drafted
sorry.
him. They drafted him out of middle school because he looks like he's 12.
There is a good
But he kicks
picture
like a
of
man.
him like after making the kick, like his mom was there, and he went over like, and he's like hugging his mom, and she's like cheering and stuff. Like it's just a great like feeling. But yeah, McPherson, like he just hasn't missed. He hasn't missed in the playoffs at all, and he didn't miss a whole lot of the regular season. So,
Right.
And his worth is so high right now because pretty much every playoff game this year has been decided by a field goal.
Yeah,
Like,
and honestly, that's almost across the board. Like every game this year
crazy.
has been incredibly close in the NFL. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's unheard of. I can't imagine that being common.
It's almost like the rest of the game doesn't matter until you come down to the very end. Like who has the last possession.
And honestly,
it's just a crazy.
I feel like I won the lottery, like being a part of this, because honestly, I have known nothing about the Bengals. The only reason I knew anything about the Bengals before was because of you guys and hearing you guys talking. There was a time where it was like, okay, which Ohio NFL team is going to be the worst? Is it going to be the Browns or the Bengals? For a couple of years, and then the Browns just were like, hey, we're pretty good, and and then they flopped on their faces, and then you guys were like, hey, the Bengals are getting pretty good, and in the back of my head, I'm like, are they though?
I'd be willing to bet at the beginning of the season the Bengals they probably had the highest odds of anybody in their division to make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, they are.
The only question I feel like is Pittsburgh, whether Pittsburgh was higher or lower. I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
but
the Pittsburgh had higher odds to make the playoffs than the Bengals did.
It just wasn't something people were looking for.
And
even still, they've turned into this like Cinderella story kind of the playoffs this year. And man, a ton of people all over the place are rooting for them. They're like, wow, these guys, like, I like these guys.
All over the world. We got people in Brazil cheering for the Bengals.
Yeah, it really has been crazy.
And it's not just Ohio or Cincinnati area has been cheering for the Bengals. They because they are the underdogs, because they're the Cinderella team, because they're not supposed to be winning these games, and the whole nation, other than the team that we're playing, does not want to see that team win, because they don't want to see the same old AFC Championship or Super Bowl teams. They want the underdog to win. They want Cincinnati to win because they want to see them get into the Super Bowl. So there's all these graphics that are going around, like the blue versus the red states, and it was like 49 states are rooting for the Bengals, and the only state that's not rooting for the Bengals is the team that they're playing. So it's been really neat to see, and the turnaround that the Bengals have had over the past 2 years has been astronomical, and it is making history, because 2 years ago the Bengals were the worst team in the NFL, and because they had the worst team in the NFL, they got the first overall draft pick, and they picked Joe Burrow to be their quarterback. And his first year in 2020, he only played 8 games, and he got injured, so he didn't even play a full season. So he got injured out for the year, didn't come back into the following year, which was this past year. And for his first full year, he comes in and takes the Bengals to the best record, the best they've been since 1989. It's unbelievable how the turnaround that they have had, and it is the fastest turnaround that the NFL has seen in the worst team in the league to the Super Bowl. The fastest turnaround time that has ever been is 2 years, and that's the Bengals.
There's a lot of crazy stats out there. One of them is no quarterback ever has taken their team to the Super Bowl in their first 2 years. Regardless of who it was, nobody's ever done that before.
Well, I think more specifically, it's never a first draft pick has ever done it.
I think that's true too.
The only 2 quarterbacks to ever beat the Chiefs in the playoffs are Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. The only 2 opposing quarterbacks, Tom Brady and Joe Burrow, to beat the Chiefs. Unbelievable.
It is crazy to think if Tom Brady had retired a few years ago, like the Chiefs probably would have a couple Super Bowl rings already.
Most likely.
You know what I mean?
Most likely.
But yeah, it's just been so much fun. Honestly, all the people that normally you're like kind of aggravated with because of their Bengals takes, like everybody all of a sudden is just rooting for them. Like everybody's on the same team. Like it's refreshing, honestly. And I'm one of the people like since the playoffs have started, since the Bengals won their first playoff game, I started watching SportsCenter like religiously again every day.
Yeah.
And I literally did it because I'm like, man, they're talking about the Bengals, like people are excited about them. Like it was just fun, and it's something I haven't experienced that much in my life, is for them to be talking about our team, the team that we care about. And so that's just been happening now every single week, every time they win. Basically everybody picked the Chiefs to win this past weekend. The only person who didn't pick the Chiefs to win is Boomer Esiason, who is a former Bengals quarterback. He's the only one to pick the Bengals. And I think it was the last 2 weeks he was the only one that's picked the Bengals. So it was pretty cool to see like a old hometown guy, like, up on the national stage, like still sticking with his team. Yeah, it is one of those things where it's hard to. It still feels really weird to say the Bengals are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Like that seems like such an outlandish thing to ever really even happen in my life. Like if they won a playoff game, like I would have probably been pretty happy with that. Just that they made it and won a game and were relevant. But going to the Super Bowl, things you don't think of, Patrick, by the way, is like next year. Like they're going to be like they could win a Super Bowl in 2 weeks, and that seems crazy. I think the Rams are probably favored to win.
They are.
But that's never hurt us. Hopefully everything goes the same exact way again.
So early reports, the odds are the Rams are favored by 3.5, and they're
surprised it's more than a field goal.
Right now it's 3.5. It's probably going to change from now until then. But as an underdog, the Bengals this year, if they're being an underdog by more than 3 points, they're 6-0. They're undefeated as underdogs against the spread, and they've won every single time. And
it really just doesn't matter, it seems like now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter with this group of guys.
Yeah, they're young. Like you said, I mean, Joe Burrow, second year. Jamar Chase, first year. Evan McPherson, first year. They traded away their former first-round pick and Billy Price to get someone else. Yeah, their offensive line. Hill. Not good.
Honestly, this has to be the worst offensive line that's ever made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's pretty
as
bad.
Much as we
like
talk about how
Swiss
good this
cheese.
team is, their line is a paperclip and a piece of string. Like it's a piece of crap. Like Burrow is literally out there just running for his life every play. Like it's amazing how tough he is, really. Because
I thought it was really interesting to watch last week's game against the Titans where he got sacked 9 times. And then the clear adjustment they made in this game where they threw so many screen passes during the game.
Yeah.
Joe was just like, I got to get this out of my hand.
And he did. Like even the screen passes were all pressured.
Yep, just toss it.
Beautiful.
And it worked.
It did. When they threw that screen pass to Samaje Perine, and Perine ran for 30 yards for a touchdown. Beautiful play, and that's the scheme that they had to run.
They needed it so bad too, there.
And because their offensive line isn't as good as other offensive lines in the NFL, but they adapted, and they know what works for them. When the defensive line, they're gonna have to do the same thing against the Rams for the Super Bowl. The Rams.
We really don't give enough credit to Zach Taylor, by the way, like for his adjustments and things like.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs this weekend dominated the first half. And I mean, they just dominated.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't even a question. I was like, man, this is going to be a blowout. Dang it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came out at halftime and it was like different guys were all of a sudden wearing the jerseys that didn't look like the same game anymore. And it was because of the adjustments they made.
So at the end of the first half, they were down 21-3. and there was 5 seconds left, and the Chiefs were on the 1 yard line, and they tried to score instead of kicking a field goal to make it 24-3.
I thought they were down to 21-11
It was 21-3
by the half.
Wait, was it half? No, it was 21.
I thought at half it was 21-11. They were down by 10. They were down 21-3
I think that
earlier
touchdown
in the
came
second
right.
quarter.
I think that touchdown might have come, and then so it would have been 21-10.
Whatever. So really
Maybe 21. Yeah, 21-10. You're right.
It depends on whether
Okay,
P Ryan's.
yeah.
But
So-
it was 21-3 earlier in the quarter.
Right,
But it was
yeah,
21-10, and
But
they were trying to score. The Chiefs were
You're right.
to make
You're
it
right.
28-10.
And instead of kicking a field goal to take the points, they were greedy and they tried to get another touchdown. And they paid for it because they stopped them on the 1 yard line. And really, that was the momentum that the Bengals needed to go into the half. They were down.
Oh yeah.
Big
And
step.
so they the first half they were using a defense that they used when they beat them earlier in the season, and it wasn't working.
That sent them down 14 points.
In the first half, the Chiefs had maybe one play that went negative yards, maybe two.
Yeah, they were carving.
It was either an incomplete pass, a no gain run or no gain scramble, or it was positive yards. Every single play, they could not stop them, and so they switched it up. And instead of doing what they used to win earlier in the year, they dropped to. I mean, like whoever's listening, if they don't understand football, they dropped to cover one. Basically, all they did was they rushed 3 and they dropped 7 to 8 guys in coverage, and really just it changed. It did. Pat Mahomes had no idea what to do. There was no one open for the entire second half, and because of that, they were able to pressure Pat Mahomes, and they were able to make him make errant throws and make off-balance throws through the entire second half. And it was just so amazing to see, because usually when you're in Cincinnati, you see they're down 21-3, it's over. We expect disappointment and things like that. And when they were able to make an adjustment that was positive for them to be able to come back from being down 18, that's nothing. We don't see that here in Cincinnati. We're like, hey, they're down 21-3. We're not coming back. But they clawed back. They made adjustments. And it was just interception after mistake, after capitalization, after mistake that the Chiefs made. I had my head in my hands halfway through the first half. Like I was like, they are getting outmatched.
I just thought this is where the magical run ends.
Outplays, yep. But they stayed with it. They adjusted and they came back, and it was one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history.
It was glorious. Now I want to say that, like I said before, it's like great luck that I was able to join you guys in on this journey, because when we went to the US, one of the things that I made sure that we did anytime we could was watch football, like Sunday football, Saturday football, whatever day had football. And thankfully, like the Halls, especially like Mindy's dad and other family, they love to watch football too. And so during that time, as I think I shared on past episodes, like got to talk to the kids about the rules and the pace of the game and, positions, quarterbacks, running backs, all that stuff. And so getting to watch this again while we're in Brazil and getting to like watch it live, experience it with, you guys on the Discord, it was just magical. And honestly, since I didn't have the baggage, and I didn't even experience, but I knew about the Chiefs game, I honestly never doubted. I was like, these guys are coming back. They are going to repeat history. I don't know how. I don't know the cover one. I don't know I recognize that from like Tecmo Super Bowl or Madden or whatever. But in terms of actually pulling it off, I don't know anything. But the only thing I can do is, and my kids find it funny, is just predicting what the penalty is going to be, which is just, once you've watched it enough, you know what the penalty is going to be. when you're watching false start and holding and
usually
fouls
depending
and all
on the time that the penalty occurs during the play,
the time where the flag comes from. And I couldn't even if someone asked me, I'd be like, I don't know. You just feel it. It's like, it's false start. It's holding. But anyways, getting to experience that with you guys has been really cool. And it's just magical because like growing up, I grew up like an adopted Detroit Lions fan. I never was a true fan, but I definitely felt the pain that my uncles felt every year.
Yeah, as a Lions fan, you know what it's about then.
Oh, yeah.
The Lions are historically bad also.
And now the fact that their ex-quarterback, Matthew Stafford, is now in the Super Bowl finally, it's like, Matthew Stafford wasn't the problem, which people knew that already.
Mm-hmm.
If only Calvin Johnson had just stuck it out, just followed Matthew Stafford to the Rams instead of retiring, he would probably be in the Super Bowl too. And
I bet he probably could still come out and put some
he
yards
probably
up.
Could. He's like, hey,
he's a freak of nature.
He is a freak of nature. But yeah, so it's really cool to just enjoy this with you guys. I would have paid good money to watch this game with you at your houses or like meet up somewhere to watch this. Like, hold Patrick in my arms the first half and then just watch the color come back to his face.
You need to hold me because, like in last week during the Titans when they won on a last second field goal, my heart rate went up to 155 beats per minute. And I expected my heart rate to be even higher this past week when the Bengals were in the overtime against the Chiefs, kicking a field goal to win the game. It only went up to 132 beats per minute. It still was high. It still was
it was we
low.
need Super Bowl numbers. You need to get closer to 200 if you're really
I'll die.
This weekend honestly was probably the first time in my lifetime with the Bengals when they intercepted the ball in overtime and they got the ball and Joe Burrow's coming onto the field. I'm like, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl. Like he is 100% taking us down the field.
Yeah.
Like this is his time. This is what he does. It's kind of crazy. The only bummer really is that the Super Bowl is actually in Los Angeles this year, which means it literally is a home game for the Rams.
It's at the Rams Stadium.
It's just like that happened to just be where the Super Bowl is, and they made it a home game. I feel like it's pretty rare. But the Bengals have done this all the whole playoffs so far.
Yeah, they have.
That's exactly what they've gone into.
Perfect for the underdog story. Speaking of the underdog story, I'm going to read one joiner question because only one question really had to do with this Bengals game. Corey Fouch. He said, I think this year's Super Bowl matchup is a good one, mainly because it's not one with Brady or Mahomes in it. And I say that as a Chiefs fan. I always go for the underdog story, so even though they beat the Chiefs, I really like the Bengals.
Oh, I wonder how he feels about the Rams, by the way, because the Rams moved from St. Louis to LA not that long ago. And my stepbrother was in town a couple of weeks ago. And I asked him, I was like, do you guys cheer for the Rams? And he's like, no, like they don't like him at all. They're like, they left. Yeah. So most of them are Chiefs fans now.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been, man, it has just been so much fun. I've actually so far in the playoffs, I've watched every game by myself. A lot of my buddies and stuff are having people over for viewing parties and stuff like that, and I basically just made a decision every time. I'm like, I just want to experience this, and by myself in my own. I'm calmer that way. Like I don't. When they're doing bad, I don't like to be around other people because sometimes people are vocal about them doing bad, and it's just harder to be positive, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I can only imagine if I had gone and it was 21-3, how everybody would have been. You know what I mean? It would have made me feel more negative.
Oh, so my parents were over watching the game with us, and they're down 21-3. And like I said before, my hands were on my face. And just disgust, disdain, and disappointment. And my mom's
the magic was over.
And my mom looks at me. She's like, "There's a lot of." It was like halfway through the first half, and she's like, "There's a lot of game left. Have you watched the last two games? They're gonna come back." And
pretty good take.
So and I just looked at her just like, shut your face, because this is like
You don't know anything.
And so we were, and they started to come back, and I looked at her and I was like, that's why you're here. I was like, that's why I need you. I need someone to be positive, because that's exactly what we needed. And
I'm glad your mom was there.
Yeah, she was 100% on the positive train.
Nice. So speaking of positive, if you haven't noticed, I haven't been talking very much.
Marc, hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm still here. and that's because I'm very, very surface level sports fan. I do know a little bit of what it's like to have a team kind of like down in the dumps and be an underdog and all of a sudden come back, because at least on the baseball side of things, throwing it back to 2004 a little bit, after 86 years of not winning a World Series, the Boston Red Sox finally won a World Series and reversed the curse ever since Babe Ruth was traded from
That was the Johnny
Sox.
Gomes team.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I remember where I was.
All the beards.
I remember.
Oh yeah.
I remember where I was when they. I think they came back. Was that the year they came back down one game to 3-0?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3-0 to the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
Which
I remember. I
made
was
it
in a
even
Kroger.
sweeter.
That's a
for
crazy
sure.
one. Yeah.
I remember I was shopping in Kroger, and somebody like just was like, Boston came back and they beat the Yankees. And then there were some choice words that were happy words, but French as well.
As is tradition.
I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But I still remember when I first found that out. Like, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that is cool. Plus, with the Patriots, like the Patriots weren't really that great until Tom Brady really came in and started like taking them to the playoffs. Like their Drew Bledsoe days were okay, but they weren't anything that would have went really deep into the playoffs.
Yeah,
Right,
it was
for sure
it was
not.
always nice when they won, with Bledsoe and Adam Vinatieri and all those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Brady came on the scene, and I believe that year the Patriots won the Super Bowl and the Red Sox won the World Series same year.
Yeah,
So
Most likely.
I think you're right.
That was absolutely crazy. But
Who would have
New
thought that would have been Tom
Englanders-
Brady's first of 6 Super Bowls?
yeah,
New Englanders were happy to be New Englanders, and everybody else hated their guts.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Then they all became jerks because they kept winning.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Then they kept doing it.
Yep.
That's true.
and-
Which honestly, I hope that happens to us because I'm going to be a total jerk to everybody. I've been so ready for this my whole life. Like I'm just going to be looking down upon the peasants.
We are due.
Yeah.
We are due.
Oh man, I can't wait.
And of course, now we're back to, oh no, we suck again.
Glorious movie.
Man.
But
That's good.
so real quick, just to kind of button it a little bit, since we're talking about
Button it up.
sports, I'm going to talk about some sports that maybe you haven't heard of. Sports kind of around the world that don't get the credit they deserve. So I do have a few here, so I can actually contribute something.
All right. Contribute away.
The first one is called hobby horsing, and this was made famous in Finland. And it literally is,
I've seen this before.
You know those like the horse on a stick, the toy.
Yeah, the horse head on the stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
like,
had those. Those
they
were awesome.
literally have a competition where they race and do different competitions with the horse on a stick, and they take it super seriously.
They do
So
take
it's
it super
running.
serious. It's really just like a horse show, but it's just people riding around on stick horses. It's bizarre. It looks like a joke, actually, but people are super serious about it.
Yep.
So it's like speed walking with horses.
No, they do like
they're
all kinds
riding.
of like
They're
No, but
riding.
just like but it's
They do jumps
have
and
you seen
everything.
people speed walking? Like they look like they're
Yeah.
super serious, but they
Like
look
the
super
power
stupid.
walk?
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm speed walking, I'm moving. And
some
it's
of
the
them get
same
really into it
kinda
like they are riding a
feeling.
real horse. Like they like it. I don't even know how you would. How do you even qualify for something like that? There's
It's like-
like regional
wait,
matches that you have to win.
Imagine knowing someone like that. You're like, wait, what are you doing this weekend? What are you
Oh,
practicing?
I'm
You're
hobby
a part
horsing.
of what?
Hobby horsing.
That's like
Just hobby
something my
horsing
mom
around.
told me to quit doing when I was a kid.
I'm a
Quit
professional
hobby
hobby
horsing.
Quit
horser.
your hobby horsing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that. Be a good gamer tag, hobby horsing.
Yeah. Second one is the West Coast Giant Pumpkin Regatta. Yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So this is made popular in, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, Tualatin, Oregon. I'm probably saying it wrong. So sorry to all our Oregon fans.
I agree. It's good.
Literally,
That sounds right to me.
it's located just outside of Portland. The town lives up to the "Keep It Weird" slogan that they have. Every
That sounds
October,
awesome.
yeah.
That is great.
Every
That's a great
October, participants dress up in ridiculous Halloween costumes and race across the lake inside these giant pumpkins.
So the pumpkins are like canoes?
Yes.
They're real pumpkins?
Yes.
I
Yes,
like
they're
it.
hollowed out
They can
pumpkins.
fit
That
in
sounds kind of
and-
cool, really.
Yeah.
They can
How
fit
big-
in and
how do
float
they-
in real pumpkins.
How
Or is
do
it
they
made
make
like a
these
raft?
pumpkins so
Do
big?
they make it?
Maybe they're like jockey sized
Dude,
people.
pumpkins can get huge. Absolutely huge. Like monstrous.
Like
They-
what is
they
the
must
what is
have
the
pro-
Cinderella where the pumpkin turns into the chariot?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they have? Like they have like professional pumpkin growers over there to make them like
Steroids.
Human
that's
size?
what they have.
Probably.
Inject
juicing.
steroids.
How would you
Yeah.
like?
Miracle Grow.
What
Is
do you,
that-
what,
is
what do
there
you want to
any
grow
rules?
up? What do you want to grow up to be as a kid? I want to be a professional pumpkin grower for this
Yeah.
keep it weird town.
Wait, you're not going to follow in your dad's footsteps of being a hobby horsey?
Part of the family
Hobby horser.
business.
Hobby horsing.
It's a family business. Don't worry
Hobby
about it.
horser?
All right. I'll give you one more.
Uno mas.
Yep. So let's go to let's do
Fake news.
So
Mark is just making these up. He's like,
I will
We would
send
never
you,
know.
I will send you the
writing
link.
words down.
We
It's
just
like,
bought
this
into
one's
all of it,
gonna
including
be-
the keep it weird thing. That was a nice touch.
No. So chess boxing. And of course
Ouch.
my page
Like,
just refreshed.
Do the
which was
pieces
awesome.
go into the
I like to
Like
think people are
the
just boxing
glove,
like
it's like-
regular, but they're dressed up as like
So-
chess pieces.
a match?
no, but they treat the chess pieces like glass, and they put
Yes.
it on the
They're like
and then they
Knuckle
punch
it,
them
yeah.
with the pieces.
Brass knuckles.
Yeah,
So a match
chess.
consists of 11 rounds, 6 rounds of chess, and 5 rounds of boxing. Each
That's a weird
round
combination.
Each round lasts 3 minutes. A winner is only declared by a checkmate in chess, a TKO in boxing, or disqualification by the ref for
That
idleness.
sounds awesome.
Sounds amazing.
I'd like
awesome.
it better
I'm sure
if
you
they
can Google
alternated
this.
though, because I would love to see them doing chess with like
They're all banged up
swelled
playing a game of
faces,
chess.
and they're just like, I can't. Is that a king or a bishop? I can't tell because
I feel like a
eyes
TKO
are so
early on
upset.
then would just knock him out for the rest of the match.
But
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
You ever
They
see
don't
the
finish chess
I mean,
match.
I don't know if it's a sport or an activity, the one where people are running like down a steep hill really fast and then they just
Isn't
end
that
up
like
going
a
end over
cheese?
end.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
on
it's
this
some
list
kind of
too.
cheese roll.
Cheese.
Is that on there?
Yeah, that's totally.
That's
on
the
this
most
list.
extreme thing I think I've ever seen in my
Mm.
life.
Mark, if you have more of those, I think you need to put a pin in it and save it for
I
next
shall.
time because we have actually lots of joiner contributions that had nothing to do with the Bengals. And so we're going to have a sports ball part 2 discussion, I think, and cover that.
We should get into
Next
more
week-
crazy sports. I like
the,
that.
the next week, the Bengals aren't going to win the Super Bowl yet because you have the Pro Bowl, and I don't think anyone will have anything to say about the Pro Bowl.
I think it's the
so
13th.
Let's talk about
Sure is.
some more sports ball next week, folks. That's all for part 1 of really Bengal ball. It's not sports ball; it's Bengal ball, and yeah. So we're gonna go from there. So thanks for joining us for our bodacious Bengal
Bonanza.
Hollywood bonanza.
Hollywood?
Yep.
Why
Oh, that's
Bollywood?
very good. It's very yummy. It's very fun. I love the Bengals. Okay. So as is tradition, some quick housekeeping. Where we offer towels, fluff, them pillars, and tip you off to GMG news you need to know. The GMG stream team, crack-a-lackin' content and conversation Sunday to Saturday, early mornings with Chris, Mark on Saturday mornings, me, who knows when, you never know. I'll surprise you one of these days. If streaming's not your thing, you can tweet with us on Twitter, discourse on Discord, click all them links in the show notes, social media, the like. You can find us there. We like to hang out with Justin Timberlake on MySpace from time to time. So, yeah, you got that too. You can also rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and I've heard it through the grapevine that Spotify also has a reviewing section now. So
Indeed.
check it out. Be the first. Maybe if you're the first to rate us and review us on Spotify, you'll get a free gift of some kind.
Maybe.
Of somewhere between $30 to $1. No guarantees, but it'll be worth it. And with that, I think that's all. I'm Lucas Swisher. Alrighty
What's
then.
happening?
Pat, Mark, Ronnie J, along with you, our beloved friends, family, and joiners, go get your good morning this week, and may God bless and guide your lives as you live, as you work, and as you game.
Hooday!